Hi, I'm Emily Mather and I'm out with On the Flyer TV doing a little bit of filming, so we thought we would do a Q&A to start with about my life and about how I got into angling.
So Emily, obviously we all know you as a Matrix superstar, and we know you welcoming you down south of the border from Scotland. But apart from fishing, tell us a little bit about you, what you're currently doing for a job away from fishing.
I currently work in an SEN school, supporting students with autism, ADHD, behavioural issues, loads of different. We've got different scenarios, every student's different, and it's amazing. It's amazing to be able to support kids in the next generation through some of the toughest years of their lives. I know going back to when I was younger, I really struggled with school. It wasn't my thing. I felt like the teachers didn't understand me. I did love the PE department, but that was about it. So the rest of my attendance was probably non-existent. But to refer back to why I've got into what I'm doing now is because I just wish I had somebody similar to myself to be able to give me the opportunities and someone to believe in me. I didn't have a big sister or anything. I was an only child for 10 years. So I just wish I had somebody to say, no, you can do it, you can believe in yourself. School might not be for you, but there is other routes you can take. And I think this is why now I enjoy, don't get me wrong, I enjoy the holidays working in a school, but when I'm in work, it's a completely different outlook. I appreciate things a lot more now than I ever have done before.
So Emily, I can tell there, obviously when you started talking about the kids in the school and the job that you're currently doing, that you lit up a little bit there. Is this a programme that's close to your heart? Because obviously, as I said, I know you come from Scotland and you didn't like the school system. Is it a programme that you got involved with when you were a kid? Did it help you growing up? Yeah,
so we used to have a programme on a Thursday and Friday night, 8 till 10, called the DIS Target Youth Project. I had a mentor there called Alan, and he's one of the reasons that I work in a school today. He really supported me and said, like, you could do anything you want, you just need to believe in yourself. Alan honestly helped me through some of the toughest years of my life. When my stepdad passed away, he got me through non-attending school. He used to argue with all my teachers to stick up for me. And I just loved the thought of doing a similar job to what he was doing. So the Thursday and Friday night was always my escape to play football. It cost nothing. It was all government funded. It's still running to this day. I still go and visit them. And I just think with fishing now, I try and incorporate the fishing into the school. I have them casting in the playground into a bucket, and I just try and be the same person that Alan was for me growing up. He's been my sort of role model, and I'm so proud that I've managed to come from sort of zero to hero, if you will. It is an achievement.
So Emily, before we came on camera, obviously you told me something that I was unaware of, which is obviously you've received a diagnosis of ADHD a couple of years ago. And obviously I'm totally unaware I was, and it's obviously something that is very close to your heart and something that you said you feel should we talk about. So please tell us more, Emily.
So I got diagnosed. I originally went to the crisis team for my mental health. I lost my nan back in January 2021, and I didn't want to leave the house. I was a bit of a hermit. I just really struggled. I didn't want to leave the house at all. The thought of even going to Aldi or Tesco was just a no-go, not at all. I then went to the crisis team, and one of the nurses said, "Have you ever been tested for ADHD?" And I said, "No, I thought it was only naughty kids that had ADHD," because that's what I was led to believe growing up. So she said, "I want you to go in for the test and we'll see how you get on." So she put me in done the ADHD test with me, and it turns out I've not just got one type, it's the combined. So we tried loads of different medications and we managed to find one that was good for me. But I also think, in a way, that fishing is a part of that. Like, I never really understood. I knew I was different, but I didn't know what it was that made me different. And obviously when I got that diagnosis of ADHD, it wasn't even something I'd ever considered. So I think it gave me a lot of clarity, and to be able to have something that helps me now focus when I didn't realise that I wasn't focused, or I would start something and not finish it. Like, I've been fishing for 3 years now, and I couldn't imagine my life without it. I've done every sport possible, I think, and I've been injured in every sport possible. But being able to have that support from the ADHD team, and just having that courage that one day to pick up the phone and phone the crisis team, completely changed my life. I would say there is a lot more kids and adults now being diagnosed with ADHD, and I just want to say it does not define who you are. It doesn't make a difference. If anything, it just, like I say to my students, that it's a superpower. Use it to your advantage. It's honestly, never be embarrassed to be who you are.
Right, so Emily, obviously we know you from Matrix and match fishing that you've been going on about. Tell us about how you got into fishing and how it all started.
So, my partner's dad had said to me when I wouldn't leave the house or anything, there's a ladies' match on Partridge Lakes. And I genuinely looked at him and went, me, fishing, are you for real? He says, why don't you give it a go? You can only try. So I went, I did try. I fell in head first on Covey 5. I think I came third in the match. I broke his pole in about 100 pieces. And I guess you could say I literally fell in love with the sport. Yeah, and I don't know why. Most people would fall in and don't want to go back, but I'm the opposite. I actually wouldn't have changed it for the world now.
Right, so Emily, obviously we know about the Matrix thing and you're being sponsored by them, but how did that come about? Obviously you've just told us about you got into your first match, but how did the Matrix sponsorship come about?
To be honest, it was quite mad. I remember saying to my partner's dad, Adi, I said to him, watch, I'll be sponsored next year. And he says, I'm just giving you the heads up, people have been fishing all their life and never been sponsored. You really have to work hard for it. So I says, no, I'm going to work hard and I'm going to get a sponsorship. So I just kept fishing. I was working multiple jobs at the time. I kept going, working hard, and there was a winter match, and I was on 118, and nobody had caught any fish there in ages, and I thought, is what it is, it's better than being at home. I had Weeder on the next peg, Weeder Junior. Bagger was on, so I thought, oh well, I may as well just sit and watch everyone else. And Bagger was filming a match focus, and I ended up winning the match. I didn't really have a clue what I was doing, so I was dobbing across on the far bank and I was just pulling these F1s out and these carp. And I remember Adi phoning me and saying, how are you getting on? I said, I've had a few. He said, what do you mean you've had a few? I said, well, I've had about 20 carp. I said, a few F1s. He went, Emily, it's winter. He said, you've got to have about 50, 60 pound there. I said, yeah. I said, I've just kept pulling them in. So anyway, I ended up winning the match, and that was my first match win within 3 months. So I think that got me a lot of attention because nobody had really heard of me before. And then all of a sudden I just won a midweeker at Partridge. I mean, I was on a bread stack, but that is a part of fishing in it, it's luck of the draw. But yeah, so Craig messaged me from Matrix, and I was really lucky to be given a sponsorship deal. Really, really grateful. So that was all within my first 3 months of fishing.
So, Emily, obviously, you just told us about how you got your sponsorship deal. That is a very, very rare occurrence. There's loads of young anglers out there and adult anglers that want to get a sponsorship deal. In regards to sponsorships, how important do you think they are, and what can people do if they want to try and buckle down and commit to the hard work and trying to get one? What do you think the tackle companies are looking for, and how can you best go about showcasing yourself to get a sponsorship deal?
I would say make sure you, well, I'll kind of get myself in trouble for saying this, I know I'm going to, because AD Twist is always bollocking me. Do your prep, but it is so true. Do your prep, that's number one. Number two, if you draw next to the likes of Chris, Key, Bagger, watch them, watch what they're doing. There's no better way to learn than watching the elite level of anglers that we've got now. Showcase your results, blog your good, blog your bad. In our house, we're not allowed to just glory blog. You've got to literally blog the good and bad, no matter what. And I think the more people see you out on the bank and putting the effort in, the more you'll stand out to these companies. And what I would say is, be yourself, be original. If you think something might sound daft or it might not come across the way everybody else does it, just do it, because there's nothing more better than being who you are, and rather than being trying to be someone else. So important to be you.
So, Emily, in your match fishing career, obviously it started out on an opens, but you have been fishing a few of the big festivals and you fished a few of the qualifiers. What made you take that big step up, and what's the future plans for Emily Maverick and match fishing?
So when I started doing the opens and stuff midweek and on the weekend at Partridge, I seen there was a few qualifiers and thought, how can I get to that point? So for my birthday, I asked for a Maver match list ticket, because the first qualifier is normally a couple of days after my birthday in March at Partridge. And I'd been picking up my section and stuff, so I thought I'll give it a go. And I think you've got to put yourself out there. I know it is a lot of money and it is hard work, but you've got to put yourself out there and be up there competing. You've got to give yourself that chance. You've got to believe in yourself as well. That's a massive aspect of it. Just because you go out one time and you might not frame doesn't mean it won't give you a chance the next time. So for me, it was more about, if I could pick up my section, it was a bonus. If I could frame, it was a bonus. It was just about being on the bank and learning. And I wanted to put myself out there and be at that level where I could compete as quick as possible, because I started when I was 20. So three years I've been fishing, and I just wanted to get to a level where I could compete and be up there with the best. And there was no better way to do it than be on these qualifiers, because that's where all the anglers that I wanted to be like were. So recently I've started doing Gary's on the flyer festivals. My first one was at Partridge, the Governor Festival, and I managed to draw Covey 2 both days, which everybody said you don't want to be on Covey 2 that day, you want to be on Covey 6. And I didn't just draw it one day, I drew it both days. Yeah, I was up there. I think I came 12th overall in that festival, which I was really proud of. There's some brilliant anglers, but I just tried really, really hard. And even though my head was down a little bit because I thought it's not the greatest of lakes, I just gave it the best I could. I just fished, got my head down and worked hard, and the results came. Then recently we done on the flyer Hayfield. I am learning every day. Every day I'm learning. The Hayfield is completely different for me. So going from Partridge with predominantly F1 fishing to Hayfield, which is big carp, it's something I've never done before. It's a completely whole new world, completely. And the past 2-3 weeks I've learned so much. So I didn't do amazing on the festival, but again, I learned. So obviously going forward, my plan is I want to win Ladies Nationals. That's what I want next. I want to win Ladies National. I am fishing for Scotland in the on Strathclyde in the Celtic Cup. And yeah, I want to be one of the first females to qualify for a big money final. That's my goal.
Right, so obviously you've just mentioned there, I'm going to go it's going to be a little bit controversial now. I'm going to ask you a controversial question. So you just mentioned obviously there you want to be the first female to win a big money final. Now we've all seen it, some of these absolute idiots on Facebook and stuff that comment about female anglers and say that they shouldn't be sponsored or they've got the sponsorship purely because they're a woman or whatever, which is obviously nonsense in my opinion. There isn't enough women fishing, and those that have got the sponsorships have worked hard for it. But what is your whole take on that and that whole dinosaur, in my word, like remarks that come about, and what's your views on females in the sport and the sponsorships that you've got?
I think you do need to have tough skin, don't get me wrong, especially on social media. You have to have tough skin. You have to be able to brush it off. Now, 4 years ago, I would never been able to deal with some of the comments I've had. But now, believe it or not, the more comments I get, I thrive off them. I think, well, why are you so concerned about what I'm doing? Am I a threat now? Is it that? Or is it because quite old school, they believe women should be at home? Or it's just, I thrive off it now. It gives me a bit more fuel in the fire to keep going, if you will. I love it, it eggs me on a lot. I think they are what they are. People will comment. You're always going to get comments no matter what sport you're in. I would just ignore it, or do what I do and use it to your advantage, where you can just thrive, and it gives you a bit more ammunition to go and do well and annoy them that bit more.
Right, and Emily, so you've been fishing now about 3 years. Tell us about your favourite venue and why it's your favourite venue. Putting you on the spot now.
It's really hard, this. So, I've got like a top 3 though, but I don't want to do them in order.
Go on then, give us your top 3.
I love Hayfield. I do love Hayfield. Nolly and Kid in the shop, like they two, do you know what I mean? They're unreal. Proper look after you at Hayfield. Can't fault it. Tunnel, this peg. I seem to sit here every time I'm here. Ladies National, the practice match was here. So I've not actually fished any of the other waters. I've only ever fished on Jenny's 13. So yeah, I love Tunnel. The staff are amazing here. They've always looked after me, always. And the food's lovely too here. Same as at Hayfield. And Partridge. Obviously that's where I started. That's where it all began, when I went head first in the lake. Nellie, Barbara, Logan, they've always looked after me, always. And Barbara has always promoted me on socials, and I think she's helped me a lot as well, promoting me. I just think it's nice to have really good venue owners. Like, we are really, really lucky to have some of the people that we do in the sport.
Okay, so what is your favourite style of fishing? What do you prefer? What gets Emily Mathers going like? What is your favourite go-to method for fishing? And what fish do you like to catch the best?
I know what everyone's going to want me to say.
Well, you tell us what you want to say.
Yeah, so I prefer to slap for big carp, and I like mugging. It's a new thing that I've been doing recently, and I just really enjoy it. I've only just learned how to fish the waggler as well, so I've been enjoying that a lot. I know people are going to say, oh, not overshotting for F1s, but I've kind of gone off it. I have gone off it a little bit, I can't lie. There's just something better about slapping for a big carp when they're just cruising along the top in the height of summer, or when I'm winding Brad Lucas up because I'm not paying attention and it mugs itself. But yeah, no, I would say fishing for big carp at the minute is my preferred style of fishing.
Okay, right, so one item of tackle, your favourite item of tackle that you use the most and you couldn't be without.
Oh, that's really difficult. I would have to say my pole. Obviously that's a bit cliche, but without that I can't really catch fish, can I? You need something to catch a fish. Yeah, so I would say my pole.
That's a boring answer, that is, but I'll let you off. So finally, Emily, obviously you've given us a real good in-depth into the past Emily and the going forward Emily, but if you could have a word with yourself back then, obviously when you said you were struggling a little bit, if you could go back now and this Emily could see old Emily, or anybody that might be in a similar position, what advice would you give them for the future?
It might be, at times you might feel like you want to give up, and I've been there, and it's like there's no way out, but genuinely talk to people and don't bottle it all in. I wish I could say to my younger self now, don't care what other people think of you. Do what you want to do and prioritise your own happiness, and don't stop believing in yourself, because we don't get long enough on this earth, honestly. You only get one chance, and I think it's so important that everyone, like, happiness is so important. You've got to prioritise your own happiness and just never give up on your dreams, because you never know. Look at me, I didn't even think I would ever be fishing. I went to a Maven Matches final in 2019 and I didn't even know that you can use a pole for fishing. I didn't even know that how they went in the car. I was thinking, how does that pole 16 metres fit in a car? I didn't know they all broke down into sections and you could put them away. It's just, you don't know where life's going to take you, so just be you, be positive and don't give up.